contractors, get these smaller businesses. It gives us the ability to sit down with the owners, which you cannot do with big corporations, and say, how are we helping you? How could we be helping you more? And then we actually develop that and we make it better. And so that really gives them a sense of ownership even in our company, in a sense, because we're developing strictly for them, or it seems that way, even though we're developing that and we're able to use that for many other corporations. So you want to change the slide for me, Henry?
Yeah. I'm just mesmerized by what you're saying.
Okay. Now, markets, this is where things are going to get interesting, because there are many different markets that we can get into. Fleet management is really the one that everybody thinks of. That people that have a lot of fleets, it's the easiest one to get into, because a lot of these fleets get it, they want it. If they don't already have it, they know they want it. They're just trying to find the best way or affordable way for them to get it. We can help provide that. But what they don't realize is that there's a lot of other areas that really are not being hit up as much. Freight tracking is one that people are trying to get into. We are actually we are leading in that right now. There are things we're doing in freight tracking that other companies just haven't even thought of yet. So we're going to be developing things for that. So vehicle tracking and fleet tracking seem like the same thing, but they're actually not. A fleet is much more. There's much more to it. And we will get into heavy-duty fleets later on with kind of our 2.0 software, which I'll get into later. Vehicle tracking is more what we're going to get into right now in small fleets. That's really more where we actually track individual vehicles. Maybe if you've got a small contractor, has 5 to 10 vehicles, or even up to 20 to 100. But those typically have much less needs than a major fleet, because they don't have to deal with some of the regulations and laws that go into play. And with those regulations and laws, there's new hardware and software that have to be developed to do that. But that also gives us a real need and niche that we have to hit. So there's always going to be new markets opening up for us, which is really, really exciting. So capital investment tracking, personal tracking, asset recovery. Now, personal tracking is what I want to get into. Capital investment, to be honest, I don't know what Henrik meant by that. But
well, it's actually capital equipment.
Okay, you mean
the medical equipment.
Okay, I got you.
Very expensive items and
yes,
stuff like that.
Yes,
The
that's where we get into
compressors.
a lot of the asset recovery and some of the custom things that we'll do in that. Personal tracking, to be honest, this is where the inspiration came for the company. Our inspiration was because both Dave and I had owned a mortgage company, he had been property manager, and we both had a lot of connections in the real estate industry. And we noticed that with real estate agents, there's a real need for security there. There's, they put themselves in areas of vulnerability on a regular basis, and there's no real security there for them. When we did the research, we found there were smartphone apps that people were putting out there that gave them more of an illusion of security. Because let's be honest, I mean, if you pull up a smartphone app, it's free, that's great, but now if somebody's actually attacking you, pulling out your phone, unlocking it, pulling up an app is no better than calling 911. So it really doesn't provide much. It makes them feel safer, but doesn't actually do anything. So we wanted to actually do something for them. And so that's when we got into, and in fact, if Henrik wants to pass this device around, this is the one that we found that it has an SOS button on it. As you can see, it's very unassuming and allows people to carry it on. We can put belt clips, keychain clips on it, that kind of thing. It has a small button on there that you can push that will send out an SOS alert, and we can program that to go wherever we want. And with our ability to program, we can do a lot of things with that. So we can integrate that into security companies as well. Monitoring companies like ADT, Honeywell, that kind of thing. We have also partnered up with patrol companies that, and we try to get the best one we can. Like the one we're partnered up in Kansas City has got the ability to actually arrest people. They actually work with the police. So, and they have patrol officers all over the city. So they're going to be fairly close. So we can have that go directly to them, and then they can go there. And of course, with that, we're looking to develop our management software to go with it, because you'll find as real estate agents, security is important, but making money is even more important. So we want to help them actually manage their time and efficiency with that device at the same time. That gives us a real leg up and gives it much more value than just security. At the moment, our security aspect of it is the thing that's really up and running. We have the capability to start on the management side of it, but that is still yet to come. Now, the asset recovery is also a future product that we're working on. It's actually very close. We're hoping to get a timeline in the next couple weeks on when we'll be able to roll out on that. It will give us a huge leg up and will be easy ins with a lot of companies with really affordable devices. What this gives us is almost what you could think of as disposable GPS units. Something that's very affordable. Whereas most of the time you think of a GPS unit, you think of spending $600, $700 on a good GPS unit. Well, think of spending $100 to $200 on a GPS unit, and then not having to pay a bunch of money every month. But if something gets stolen, you can call us up and say, where is it, and you will get it back. That's asset recovery. And then we got an annual fee to keep them in that service, so it's essentially like a theft insurance policy. And we have also are coming up with many other ways that we can use that type of technology to get in and integrate into other business processes, which I'll get into in a bit. Things like inventory management and that stuff will save them hours and hours of time. But again, those are all future products, hopefully soon to arrive. Okay, so again, market segments. So public clients, like the police, any kind of government agency, there's a lot of stuff that they can use this for. They're already jumping on board with it if we can get in with them early. There's a lot of things we can do for them that other people can't. Semi-public clients are like utility, the people that work with government agencies, power companies, gas companies, that stuff, but still have private ownership. They have a huge need for this, and they've got the funds to do it. So they're a great one to get into. Private companies is really where we're gonna be able to just blow the doors off, because you're talking about professionals, you're talking about contractors. These are companies that really need our services more than anybody else, because they're struggling sometimes to get by, or they're just, they want to, the more efficient they are, the better off they are, the more money we can make. And we can break it down and show them. I've actually done case studies now with landscapers, for example, are really, really good ones, where you can show, like if you pay somebody $15 a day. I mean, just imagine if you've got a crew of 4 in one truck, and you got 4 trucks out there, so you got 4 crews, and you're paying each person in there about $15 an hour on average. Just pretend each person wastes maybe an hour a day. I mean, that's being conservative. And if you can track that and knock that down by half, that's $90 a day that they're wasting. You can take $45 of that off a day, and you're paying $40 a month for that truck. It's more than pays for itself in one day. So those things, and that's a real case study we did with the Kansas City, Missouri School District. Even though their union, they actually saved a lot more because they were paying more than $15 an hour. But we just knocked it down for more regular contractors. Individuals is another segment that can be done, and it's actually really easy to do. In fact, Dave proved this point the other day just by driving into Quick Trip and talking to 2 guys on motorcycles, and they decided they wanted one on their bike and their car. We don't want to focus on individuals just because it's a lot more work for less of a payoff, but that's not to say if somebody wants to come in and buy that they're not going to be able to do it. But there's a lot of segments in that we're not going to waste a lot of our energy trying to develop simply because we want to focus on the industries first. And that would be things like child tracking, children's and things like that. We can do that, and we have the devices that if the parent wants to somehow integrate that can be done. And we're working on some areas that are actually going to be really innovative with clothing and stuff, using uniforms in schools and stuff like that, that are future products that we will be able to integrate into that field. But for now, we really want to focus on the private companies, public companies, and the semi-public companies, because those are going to be where your bread and butter are. Plus, least amount of effort, most payoff. That's really where we want to focus.
If I can interject, there's obviously a lot more public clients than just the police, but I put it there because we are in touch with a police station that wants our vehicle tracking unit, which you'll see a picture of later on some of their bikes, to see how it works and how they can utilize it. So even the police, which you think they're supposed to know where everybody is, at least if they're supposed to come and help you. So you will see later on that there's endless number of opportunities.
Okay, and this is where he's showing right here the endless number of opportunities. He just wants to Angie's List, went from A to H, and every one of these areas has got somebody in there that we could sell something to. Right. So, I mean, all you got to do, click it again, all you got to do is look around and you're going to find somebody near you that needs this product. They're really easy to find. You will actually be surprised with how many people are actually ahead of the curve on this. One thing, however, is that we do have the ability to, if somebody already has GPS, that doesn't mean we're out. Find out how much they're paying for it. Because we do our own work, we can get it at less cost, which means we can save them money. And we do have the ability in most cases, not every case, to use the device they already have and have already paid for and just take over the service. So there is a way for us to do that. And of course we'll have to work in how to compensate for that later on once we find one that does that. But that is something that we can do. So That doesn't mean you're out if they already have it.
Is this where we interject our warning and say this can be dangerous to your health? Because both Chris and myself, when we drive around, we see a truck or a van